characteristics of that bother me. This is from a 2019 event that Charlie Clark himself chaired. And there's 3 little points of this that I think are relevant. Dispersed initiatives will clearly not reinforce one another. So in other words, don't put things so scattered out, put them closer together, get it collective. Right now the library is across the street from City Hall. Instead they're moving it blocks away from where it was ever planned. It's not in the 2013 center plan. And there is no community plan that they've been able to produce that shows the library was ever considered where they're planning for it to go. Single-use facilities will not optimize public investment nor satisfy multiple demands. Single-use facilities will not optimize public investment. A year later, the mayor is voting for a big budget for his pet project that he's on the board for. It's a single-use facility. It will not optimize public investment. So why are we spending money on it? And if we did it before the pandemic, we should definitely be thinking about it now that we are in a pandemic. The downtown is still seen as risky for investment. So we're in a risky environment for investment, and then we're going to still go ahead with a single-use facility for extremely high cost. Where is the logic in any of that? That was all charged by Charlie himself. Here's from his previous election campaigns.
Nope, current.
This is current. Politics has become too much about giving people simple answers to complex issues, or making promises that sound good but can't be kept. Well, Occam's razor, the simplest solution usually is the right solution. First thing you do in any problem is try to find the simple solution. Mayor Clark doesn't like that, and he likes to find the complicated solution, look forever for that for the simple issues, much less the complicated ones. We have to start looking for the simple solutions. We don't need the grand, we need the simple. We need the functional to make lives better instead of these long, drawn-out, expensive things. We need to tell them the truth. That's important. I'm going to get back to that one. Here's what he talked about in 2016. He was going to save us $500 million. That's off his own ads. Now he's saying he's going to save us $500 million, because that's different than $500 million. Nobody pays attention to that. He proposed before he was elected that he was going to oppose shifting tax. But then as soon as he got in, that was what he did. But then he went and added a bunch of costs for water and things on businesses anyway. So even though they got a bit of a break, now they're paying crazy amounts anyway, a different way. They get taxed earlier before their property tax ever comes off. Bill Tank's article right here, Despised Turmoil. He's talking about infill development. And he also talked in this how infill is what we needed. We don't need to grow out because it costs stuff. Now we're going to have Homewood and Evergreen that don't have a library because we grew out so far and they don't have services. And we're not considering a library for them, are we? So he was talking about infill. Again here, what's the targets from 2019? This is from the Urban Planning Group. Their target's only 200 units or 13.5%, 13.9 on 25% is their target. So just barely over half. And this is every year, all the way through his term as mayor, he hasn't met his targets for infill. This new attainable housing, if you go to community support group, is supposed to be 500 units or more a year for the exact same metric. Theirs is 145. That's awful. And the inner city is where this hurts the most. And that's not what he's worried about. He's worried about affluent infill right now, outside of the inner city. Big talk about how cost of the library will only cost the household less than a cup of coffee a year for 6 years. Well, really? Or you're talking about a different number here. So this is how much increase is going to happen each year. So 466, yep. But let's look at the total cost, because they're already taking off a bunch of money. So it's like saying I'm charging you $100 a year right now. Next year I'm going to charge you 101. So instead of me admitting I'm charging you 101, I'm going to say, well, I'm only charging you $1. Like, why are you complaining? Except that I'm charging you $101. So really what's going to happen if you do the math for the average household, it's $33.71 a year. And I've asked him specifically in debates, where are you buying coffee for that a year? I mean, some households don't care about this, but some do. But be honest, you're not getting it for $4 a year, you're getting it for $30-some a year. And that's for an average house. If somebody's got $1 million house, you're spending $100 a year for the new library, offset cost, and they're going to do that for each year. New Central Library, a lot of claims about employment. I've heard Charlie say thousands of jobs, but I can't find it in writing, so we adjusted our website. So we say 1,000 now. Because everything in writing from him is 1,000, so maybe he misspoke. I'll give it to him. So he's saying, I'm going to create 1,000 construction jobs. This building here is 52,000 some square feet. We probably created 10 jobs. How many people did we employ? Maybe 100 some, from the start to finish. Creating work means that somebody doesn't have a job, you're creating it. If you're employing 1,000 people over a course of years, so you're employing 300 people a year, that's a different statistic. But creating jobs, we have to create jobs because people aren't employed. That's what they've been selling. They're not creating 1,000 jobs. And even by the library's own standard, you're seeing 1,043 jobs over 3 years in all of Canada. And you know that a lot of those are going to go to China, and they're counting the material weight and how much it took to make that as a construction cost. How many jobs are actually going to be created in Saskatoon? Because even this number prorated is all for Saskatchewan, not for Saskatoon. So out of 3 years, how many people are they actually going to hire for those jobs? Or are they just going to hire crews from Edmonton to get in and bid the job? We need to worry about that because this isn't an accurate number. And people think we're going to create 1,000 jobs and put everybody back to work. It's not going to happen. So let's look at the report card. This is Charlie's report card for the new Central Library. Cost of the average household, less than a cup of coffee per year for 6 years. I think we can all agree that's a fail. That is not accurate. Create 1,000 construction jobs. Fail. He's not creating 1,000 jobs. They won't even employ 1,000 people through their job, and if they do, we are going to be so overcost. Do the salaries of what that would cost for 3 years. If you say 1,000 full-time equivalents, even that's 300 and some people for 3 years each. That's still a huge number of salary. Drive economic development for the downtown. His own words. It's decentralized where it should be and it's risky investments. That's his own report. I'm not making this up. It's right there. Become a community hub and a digital learning center for all residents. Well, digital is digital. 60 or 92% of Saskatchewan residents already have internet access. So if you're digital, you just go online. Right now you can go to Linda online through the library and you can do trading. You can watch Hoopla movies. You can get digital books. So why do we need a new building for digital for? He keeps talking digital. Are they doing something there that I don't know about? And why do we need so much space? Digital means smaller. If you take out all these books and go digital, I don't need to have all this space. And it's for all residents? People in Homewood, the people that are writing to me from different areas of the city like Evergreen are saying, well, is it really for us? Because that's pretty far away from us now for our kids. Let's go back to this. Here's the library's budget. Here's how much extra they took this year, budgeted $4.967 million extra just to put in their bank account for a new building. That isn't what they need to operate. That is just to go in their bank account. Next year that rises, which is the cup of coffee he's talking about. $5.6 million. I don't want that money to be taken. I want it to be kept in the city of Saskatoon because they will be years before they can ever spend it. And right now we are in a pandemic and we are going to be in a pandemic. And it's prudent for leaders to step up and say, hey, we need to hold on to every resource for the people of Saskatoon. We need to hold on to cash. And if we need to borrow something, we need to borrow because we're sustaining life. In the library, Charlie's made claims that, oh, we'll have lawsuits. The library is a service for the people of Saskatoon. And if they think it's in their best interest to sue the city to get their way, we're going to have a little chat later. If you took the full-time equivalent for the library and you figured it out for the average of the people, by the salaries that are paid, every person that works at the library as an average should make $89,000 a year. So let's go back to Jim Barnsley's comments that the people at the bottom are making peanuts. So if the people at the bottom are making peanuts, and you would know, he was a cameraman 40 years, working for peanuts. Okay, I'm concerned because where is all this money going? And I think the CEO at 190 grand, 40 grand more a year than even the mayor makes, might be in that ballpark. I want to do different. Enough of this. I've said this before, I will say it again. I will show leadership and stop taking on debt during the pandemic. People don't like it, don't vote for me. If you vote for me, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I will show leadership and forge strong working relationships with our police force, our fire service, our community-based organizations to keep our streets and our people safe from harm. Look at me and decide if you think I mean it. Number 3, I will show leadership and work with council to overcome management issues at City Hall. There is too much wasted money in departments and not enough service for taxpayers. The city should serve the taxpayers, not the taxpayers serving the city. We added this little bit here about work with council because I missed it the first time, and I'm telling you that now.